Hello everyone, welcome to another drawing tutorial. In this tutorial I'm just going to explain step by step how I did these water droplets. So the first step was to actually draw the outline of each individual water droplet first, especially the bigger ones that are at least this size that you can see on the page. Once I'm complete with outlining each individual water droplet, I use charcoal powder and apply it to the entire forehead of whichever part that I'm working on. So in this case, the upper part of the forehead. Essentially, what I'm doing is locking in the shape of each individual water droplet before I go in with the charcoal powder and lose where each water droplet should be. And for these particular droplets, I'm also using a blending stump to make the outsides of them just a little bit darker than the inside. And then, as you're about to see here in a second, I'm going to use the makeup brush to just add in that layer of charcoal powder in between and on top of each water droplet. And of course, you can add in other water droplets as you go. The reason why I did it first was just so that I didn't blend in the outline of each droplet too much so that I couldn't see it. And what I'm doing here is going in after the fact and adding in a little bit of definition around each water droplet. Uh, if you look closely to the reference picture, sometimes there's a line on one side that's a little bit darker than the one on the other side. So this would be the time to pay attention to that and add those details in. So now that I've got the general tone of the forehead correct and I've outlined each individual water droplet appropriately, what I'm doing now is going in between each droplet and adding just dots of the Posca white acrylic paint pen. Now in this step, it's very important to pay close attention to the reference picture. You almost have to take a little bit of a step back with your eyes and see where the density of these white spots is more dense compared to other spots, and you're not going to have the same density of white spots in between each water droplet in the whole forehead, right? Varying the density of these white spots between the water droplets from one place to another creates a sort of gradient effect when you step back and change your perspective a little bit. It creates the illusion of that gradient effect where some parts of the forehead are brighter than the others, even though all you're doing is changing the density of these white water droplets between the density of the white spots rather between the water droplets. So now that I'm almost complete filling in between the water droplets in this particular section, I'm going in with General's Charcoal White and adding a little bit of a lighter layer in the middle of each droplet, starting at the middle and moving outwards. So it creates this illusion or effect of the middle being a little bit brighter and slowly getting darker towards the outside of the water droplet. And then when you're done with this, you're going to go back with your Posca marker and add a white dot or line or whatever you see in the reference picture in the middle of each water droplet. And really, it is as simple as that. The water droplets were honestly the easiest part of this entire portrait so far. At least these water droplets. The water droplets on the side of the hair were a lot more challenging than this, but this was quite easy uh, relatively to some of the other parts, and it really just consisted of outlining each individual water droplet, then adding some charcoal powder on top and in between each water droplet, then going in with your Posca marker, adding in some very fine white dots in varying densities in between each water droplet, and then just adding that white dot in the middle of each water droplet. And pretty much all I did was repeat these steps for these larger water droplets for the rest of the forehead. Thank you so much for watching.